I'm in um, the unenvious position of following both Laura Putnam and lunch. But even if you're feeling the post-lunch woozies, we're going to cure that. We have no problem. So in just a little bit, I'm probably going to get you off your feet and do a little exercise to kind of get the blood going, and I know you guys are with me for that. My name is Josh Levine, and the way I basically describe who I am, I'm a brand strategist with a deep interest in culture. I helped found a brand strategy agency in San Francisco in the early 2000s, and over that time, we did a lot of work, both outside and inside of organizations. And when I left, my job search turned into a soul search. And what I realized is what I really wanted to do was help organizations create their brand from the inside. Of all the work that we had done, the work with huge companies like HP, the work that we did internally was the work that was most effective and most lasting, right? The stuff that really stuck. And for me, that was really kind of what set me on my trajectory from job to career to calling. And this, for me, is really culture. Company culture is really a calling. It's something I believe very, very deeply in. So the first thing I wanted to do is share with you my favorite quote. If you want to build a ship, don't gather people to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the immensity of the sea. This, when I saw it in a bakery, summed it all up. Now, this baker is an artist. He is one of the top new chefs in San Francisco. He is an unbelievable craftsman of muffins. And they are the best muffins ever. And it just seemed like, at first it was like, that's ridiculous. But then I thought, it's hard business. It's hard business running a bakery, running a restaurant. And I feel like if someone like that can inspire his crew to really see the bigger picture, why they're in this, I thought that's what we all can do, right? This is what we talk about when we talk about purpose. That's why I think it's so interesting. That's why culture is becoming the very center of the organization. Fingers crossed. All right, so first I want to give you a little bit of background. This is me, Josh Levine. I have a brand and culture consultancy called Great Monday. We build brands and culture programs for technology and social enterprise, okay? You can find me on Twitter at aka Josh Levine, and the reason why I'm telling you this is not only because I would love to have more followers, but because a little bit later on I'm going to be tweeting out a link to a downloadable PDF of an amazing new book that we just produced. And I say we, that is from a Culture Lab. So Culture Lab X is a nonprofit that I started with some friends of mine when we decided that there really was no community of interest around company culture. So we had to create it, and it's just been unbelievable. We have labs popping up in Portland. New York launched last week. We have interest across the country. London and Melbourne are even calling in. It's really kind of the moment is now. And I'm so excited because for 10 years I feel like I've been saying culture is where it's at, and people didn't really get it. I feel like they're starting to get it. 3 things that we're going to talk about today in the culture imperative. First, we're going to try our best to define culture. And why it's so important. Then we're going to break it down into what we call the culture code. So let's try to define it by breaking it down into its pieces. Let's really analyze this. And this is really exciting because it's the first time I'm actually presenting this work. So really exciting, and I would love to have your input. This is all an experiment, all of this. I feel like my life is an experiment, so would love your feedback, right? None of this is, I don't want to pretend to be up here and be the expert. I want to be someone who's in conversation with groups like yours, which is super exciting. And then finally, a hypothesis around how to measure engagement. We've talked a lot about engagement today. Engagement is a critical component, right? And we're talking about what it means to be emotionally involved. And I think there's an interesting sort of layered structure, almost Maslow's hierarchy of needs for employees. So we have a lot to cover. I know an hour and 30 minutes just sounds like a tremendous amount of time, but it's going to go by like that, especially after we do our little exercise later. It's going to be, little special thing. All right, so long journey. This was me when I started as a brand strategist a long time ago. My hair is a little different. This is actually still my license because at the airport, someone always makes a snide, "What happened to your hair?" But it falls out every once. It happens. So this is what I looked like when I started way back when as a brand guy. These are the kids that Ryan mentioned. So just trying to make that emotional connection with you guys, like Laura said, right? It's insanity. So when you come up and you're like, "Josh, you look so great from far away," but then you've got huge bags under your eyes when I come up close. This is why. And this is a snow monkey. All right. So why culture? Why change? Why now? Let's get into it. All right. Who is familiar with this term, VUCA? Raise your hand if you know what VUCA is. Not a soul. Come on, we're in San Diego. This is a military town, and this is a military term. This is the state of everything now. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. This is why in the military they are sort of framing up their strategies around things are just moving really fast, and we can't figure it out. And guess what? That's what's happening in business today. I was talking to Gary earlier, and I was telling him that it's awesome to be from the Bay Area because I feel like while it's not indicative of where all these organizations, your organizations are now, it is indicative of where they will be. I feel like I live in the future. So I'm coming from the future to tell you what's going to be, okay? And it's all about this. It's like big, fuzzy, I have no idea what's happening, right? It's just, we can't predict, right? Strategy, business strategy is about analyzing and then predicting what's going to happen. But you cannot predict the future anymore, right? The only way to predict the future is to make it yourself. And what we try to do every day is correct course and correct course and correct course. So I argue that VUCA is the reason why culture is so important. What's happened, right, is we've gone from this sort of machine economy, right? This labor economy where people would go to work and be productive by creating more widgets, let's say, right? But now we've moved on, right? This is I don't know what you want to call it, the divergent economy, the intellectual economy, the creative economy, the economy where the value is about what's inside your head. And if anybody's been paying attention, those great ideas don't happen because you're sitting at your desk for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours, right? Those great ideas happen at night, in the shower, when you're out for a jog, right? New ideas, innovation. All these buzzwords are all about creating value in unexpected new ways, ways that have not been created before, right? So it's no longer about best practices. Because as soon as you get that best practice implemented, it's out of date. Okay? So what we're doing is we're creating value in a new way. And so it's not about sitting down and, getting through those emails. It's not what it's about anymore. The great speed up, right? Every, 18 months, twice as much computing power for half the cost. Moore's Law has held true for, 20 years now, right? More financial transactions in one day than in all of 1965, all right? And it's happening faster and faster and faster. So where culture change was once an event, hey, everybody, this year's initiative, culture change. Now it's a constant. It's happening all the time. So guess what? You're going to have to get proficient at it. Because if business is changing employees are changing, and markets are changing, and, as we agree, culture is now sort of the center point of the organization. Strike that. Culture is the center point of the organization. We need to be thinking about this all the time. Okay, what are we talking about when we talk about culture? So I would like, for 5 minutes, talk to each other. Maybe grab some coffee. No, don't get up yet. Talk to each other, and we're going to come back, and I want to hear what is the definition of culture? Rosie kind of had a little bit in her talk. Laura talked a little bit about it. Ryan's been implying it. So talk with your table. Let's talk about it. What is culture? 5 minutes. If you guys raise the lights, that would be awesome.